innings. In center field, Nick Ahmed at shortstop, and Archie Bradley, the right-hander, on the mound.
And the Rockies take the field. We're set to go here. And your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for Colorado is the right-hander Tyler Chatwood. He's been very good for the Rockies, a 2.15 ERA in 6 starts, and that includes a pair of wins at Chase Field against the Diamondbacks. So why, Bob, have the D-backs have they had such a tough time with this guy?
Well, because he's a pretty good pitcher that nobody knows about. Pitching here in Colorado, you tend to get overlooked, and this is a guy that's had to battle back from a couple of surgeries, and just really good fastball command. He'll challenge the strike zone. He usually keeps the ball out of the middle. I mean, he's held the Diamondbacks to 1 earned run in 12 2/3 innings in his 2 starts this year. He's pitched 24 2/3 consecutive innings on the road without allowing a run, so he's just been good this year.
For more on Tyler Chatwood, let's go downstairs to Jody Jackson. Jody.
Well, one guy in the lineup for the D-backs that's had success against Chatwood is Chris Owings. He's 4 for 7 against him with 3 doubles, and Owings tells me they go all the way back to coming up through the organizations in the minors as Chatwood was in Colorado Springs, and of course Chris in Reno. He said one thing is he's deceptive. They've talked about that in their meetings, kind of with the short arming delivery, so you can't really pick it up as well. He said the 92-mile-an-hour heater sometimes looks like 95, but again, he's looking to continue his success against him. And you guys mentioned Chatwood coming off Tommy John has had success against this Diamondbacks lineup, but has struggled here at Coors Field.
Yeah, he has been beaten up pretty badly in both his starts here. Chip Hale told us today that the plan of attack on Tyler Chatwood is wait and see, because the first time the D-backs faced him in the opening series of the year, he threw a lot of fastballs. So the second time they expected to see those fastballs, but Chatwood then threw a lot more breaking balls. So tonight Chip said what they'll do is sort of see what he looks like early and then make some in-game adjustments.
Sounds like a Dave Duncan pitcher. Dave Duncan, in his time as a pitching coach under Tony La Russa, used to be a master at that. A guy would come out one start throwing lots of fastballs and hard sliders. The next time you'd see him, he's throwing a lot of change-ups and slow curveballs, depending on what he did against your team last time out.
The Carapazzas are plate umpire tonight. Gene Segura leads it off. We are underway. The D-backs and the Rockies first of 3 here at Coors Field. Segura ahead 2-0. He's at .338 with 4 homers. And Gene has hit safely in every game on this road trip, despite the concern over that sore hip that kept him out of the final home game at Chase and then the first game at Miami. This one is belted to left center field. Gerardo Parra is out there. It splits the defense. Blackman's going to pick it up as well. Parra's got it. Segura's in at second. A good start for Gene Segura, his 7th double.
This ball is absolutely ripped, belt high up and out over the plate. Perfectly splits that gap, and if you haven't seen a game in this ballpark, they have some monster gaps.
Parra sort of backed off a little bit, like Charlie Blackman was charging in, was going to pick that ball up, and neither guy was able to get to it before it got to the wall. So a good start here for the D-backs as Brandon Drury steps in. High for ball 1. Brandon 310 and 6 homers. He has started all 6 games so far on the road trip, and he's got 8 hits, including 3 doubles and a home run. This is chopped to third. Arenado, nobody's there. Chatwood late getting to the bag, and Segura's in there. Drury's aboard. A little confusion for the Rockies. Arenado turned to look at third. No one was there. Chatwood late getting to the bag.
Yeah, this is kind of a mess of a play right here. Gene Segura with a late break toward third base. When he saw Arenado coming in, he thought he could sneak in behind him. Arenado, rather than take the sure out at first base, tosses to a moving target in Tyler Chatwood, who can't make the play. Big break for the D-backs right there.
A little unusual for Arenado, Bob. He was charging in to get that ball. It seemed certainly that he would throw to first base, but changed his mind. So they're on the corners, nobody out for Goldie. First pitch swinging. Right center field. Blackman and Cargo over there. Gonzalez has it. Segura's at third. Here he comes. Here's the throw. It is not in time, and it's 1-0 D-backs. RBI number 17 for Paul Goldschmidt.
And we know Carlos Gonzalez has a great arm out there in right field, but that ball just a little too deep even for him to be able to challenge Segura at home plate right there. And the D-backs jump ahead early.
We've been talking about how they want Goldie to be more aggressive early in counts. Goes up there, swings at the first pitch, and drives in a run. So Drury's at first, 1 out, a run in, and it's Jake Lamb batting cleanup tonight.
3 batters in, they've scored as many runs against Chatwood as they did in their previous 2 starts against him.
Jake hitting .280 with 3 home runs. As Jody was talking about earlier, if the Diamondbacks do have an advantage tonight, it's the ballpark, ironically. They may be able to use Chatwood's own park against him. Both his losses this year have come right here at Coors Field, hit hard by both the Giants and the Dodgers. Shift is on for Jake Lamb. And he hits right into it. LeMahieu, Arenado, and they turn the double play. 4-5-3 on the DP with the shift on, but the Diamondbacks score first. Archie Bradley coming up next. Coors Field, D-backs on the board, and your Arizona Ford starter for the Diamondbacks is Archie Bradley, the 23-year-old right-hander. He was hit hard at San Francisco in his only other big league start this year. He walked 4 in that ball game. Bob, what does Archie need to do here tonight?
Low strikes. That's always a good formula in this ballpark, whether it's a fastball, breaking ball, off-speed pitches, whatever. Keep it down low, keep it out of the middle of the plate if at all possible.
You see the numbers from that no decision, April 18th at AT&T Park in San Francisco. 5 runs, 7 hits, and only 4 1/3. The lineup Archie Bradley will face tonight for Walt Weiss's Colorado Rockies.
Well, if familiarity breeds contempt, we hate these guys. Charlie Blackmon out in center field. Trevor Story, the rookie of the year, rookie of the month rather, for the month of April. He'll be at shortstop. Carlos Gonzalez in right. Nolan Arenado at third base. Gerardo Parra out in left field. Mark Reynolds at first. DJ LeMahieu at second. Tony Walters doing the catching for right-hander Tyler Chatwood.
He may have the Rookie of the Year award already wrapped up after that April. Here is Charlie Blackmon. And there's the strike. 94 from Archie. That's a good sign. Blackmon 258, a home run. And he knocks that one in front of Chris Herman, out there in right field. Our Eye on Defense for the Diamondbacks is sponsored by Nationwide Vision Center.
Drury in left, Owings in center, Herman in right field tonight. It'll be Lamb and Ahmed on the left side of the infield, Segura and Goldschmidt on the right side. Wellington Castillo behind the plate, and right-hander Archie Bradley on the mound.
Archie started the ball game in the stretch. We saw him do that before, but right out of the gate here. And now he's in the stretch anyway with Blackman at first and Trevor Story the hitter. So no windup from Archie to start things off. That's a strike, 0-1. Story 272. He's got 11 homers. And 5 of those home runs have come against the Diamondbacks. Charlie Blackmon swiped 43 bases last year. Got to keep an eye on him. He stays put there, and Story knocks it in the gap in right center. Blackman's going to come flying around third and tie the ball game. Herman picks it up on the warning track, and it's an RBI double for Story. And just like that, we're tied at 1.
That's something we did not see from Trevor Story in the series at Chase Field, either of the series at Chase Field. Driving the ball to the opposite field. Stayed right on that breaking pitch, found the gap in right center. Charlie Blackman's going to score easily from first base. Yeah, that first series, especially the opening series of the year, Trevor Story was looking to dead pull every pitch he saw, but nice approach that time, double to the opposite field.
So a single and a double against Archie Bradley started off for the Rockies. Story at second, nobody out for Carlos Gonzalez, who of course hit the ball last year at Chase Field. That struck Archie Bradley in the face and really derailed Archie's season. This is the second time this year Archie has been up there against Cargo. They met earlier this year during spring training, actually. They had one at bat, so this is not the first time he's seen him since. 312 and 4 homers for Gonzalez.
Might as well get it out of the way right now. This is a lineup that just doesn't give you any breaks.
Yep.
You have a base open here with Carlos Gonzalez. You'd like to think maybe you pitch around him right here, get him to chase something out of the zone, get himself out, and if you walk him, you walk him. But then you have to deal with Nolan Arenado and so forth and so on.
Arenado tied with Robinson Cano for the Major League home run lead. A ball and a strike to Cargo. That is a shot behind the D-backs dugout. Archie Bradley pointed out after his first D-back start this year, and he's right about this, that in most of his bad starts, when things don't go well for him, it's a bad start from the very beginning. And he really thinks that a key for him is to get going early and have success. But it's been a rough go so far, a single and a double. He hasn't really had a time or a chance to get behind in the count like he's done before, because the Rockies have gone up there attacking. But he's ahead here on Gonzalez, a ball and 2 strikes with Story at second.
Another thing to keep an eye on with Archie Bradley tonight is watch where Wellington Castillo sets up and gives the target, and see how many times Archie either hits the target or at least misses in his favor. That time they tried to go in on Cargo. The pitch was all the way across the plate on the other side. Be a little more fine with his command.
2-2. Well, Chip told us today that a key for Archie is he's got to use all three pitches: fastball, breaking ball, changeup. He said Archie can't pitch here with just his fastball. And he's also told him, and this really is apropos here considering the way things have started here, hang in there. Because he said pitching in this ballpark, you know it's going to be a prize fight. There's going to be some big punches. There are going to be multiple run innings. So hang in. He wants Castillo to go through the signs again. Argo proving a tough out for Bradley. Gonzalez has hit safely in 25 of his 30 games this year. Play on at second. And they throw it into center field. Story's going to have to hold up. Segura can't pick the ball up. So a sloppy start here for both sides.
I see Nick sneaking in behind. And just a bad throw on the second base side of the bag. Normally Nick picks everything in the dirt, but that one got behind him. Then Gene Segura fanned on it. Fortunately, Story was just holding his ground there at second base.
And Castillo hangs on to the foul tip. First out of the ball game for Archie Bradley is a strikeout of Carlos Gonzalez, but now he'll deal with Nolan Arenado. Time for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, I know he's a big friend of yours, and you like to see as much of him as you can when we're in town. But as we know, the only time you really see Dinger is in the 9th inning if the Rockies have a lead. So our goal tonight is keep Dinger in his cage.
That's where he belongs. Dinger, the front-running mascot. One out, Story at second. No run in. Here's Arenado. Ball one. Arenado has the batting average up to .322, and he's leading the league with 12 home runs. He was a home run short of the cycle yesterday in their win at San Francisco, and he has been crushing it lately. There's a strike, 1-1.
And by lately, you mean the last 2 years?
Yeah, well, 2.5.
2.5.
I mean, look at those numbers. He's got 3 homers in 6 games just against the Diamondbacks, and he's knocked in 8 runs. There's a strike. 95 with that fastball. That velocity for Archie has been up this year. It's creeping back up to where it was a couple of years ago.
That's low fog right there. 95 at the knees. Not much you can do with that.
He was ahead of Gonzalez 1-2, had a battle and wound up with a strikeout. Now it's 1-2 on Arenado. 95 again, but he missed. It's 2-2. Good to see the zip back on that fastball. D-backs have overloaded the left-hand side against Arenado. Goldie all by himself about midway between first and second.
And I've been watching Chris Owings out there in center field. I don't believe I've ever seen the Diamondbacks do this on a hitter before. He was shaded over to the gap in right center as the at-bat by Arenado began, but when it went to 2 strikes, he moved over a step or 2 on the left field side of straightaway center. Usually it's exactly the opposite. You play a guy to pull early in the count, play him to hit it the opposite way later in the count.
2-2 pitch. Oh, why do you think that is?
Spray charts. I mean, I can't think of a logical explanation. Like I said, normally you play a guy to pull when the count is in his favor early in the count. Once you get to 2 strikes, a hitter figures to be more defensive, might swing a little bit later, might get a pitch away that he's going to hit that direction, so you shade him to the opposite field in the outfield once you get to 2 strikes.
But Arenado, even when he gets behind, it seems, stays aggressive. He is leading the major leagues in batting average when behind in the count. He's .355 this year when he's behind in the count. Imagine what he does when he's ahead. And there is the spray chart.
I've talked about it before. I had a hitting coach in the minor leagues that used to talk about being hungry to hit. And Arenado looks like he's starving every time he steps in that batter's box. He is ready to eat. He's
been on a roll lately, hitting nearly 400 over his last dozen games. Another play on at second base. You got that moment here with a 6:40 local start where the sun is setting behind the left field foul pole. And it casts some big shadows across the field. Some very bright sunlit spots, others dark shadows. 3-2 pitch. And it's another strikeout. Let's see, did he hang on? No, he didn't. Vic Carapaz is going to ask for help here. Did that hit the ground? Vic has told Chip Hale, I can't see in front of me. Let me ask for help.
It's in the glove right there, but when he went to make the exchange into the throwing hand to flip it back to Archie Bradley, he dropped the ball.
What, does that fall under the transfer rule? But a good job there by Vic Carapaz. He gave Chip the explanation, and that's a strikeout. And they went to get help, and sure enough, they get the call right. And Archie Bradley has struck out Cargo and Arenado back-to-back, with Story at second base. And now with 2 outs, he'll work to Gerardo Parra. But it's already a 20-pitch first for Archie.
It appeared pretty obvious to me. Of course, I watch with biased eyes, but that ball was clearly in his glove. He had control of it. It wasn't until he went to reach his bare hand into the glove to get the ball out that it finally came loose.
And again, under the transfer rule, a valid force out or tag has occurred if the fielder had complete control over the ball in his glove, but drops the ball after intentionally trying to transfer to his throwing hand, which is what Wellington Castillo was doing there. So it appears they got the call right. In any case, it's the second out here in the bottom of the first. And with Story still at second, here's Parra. There's a tapper near the mound. Goldie going to pick it up. Bradley's over there. And they got him at first, says John Hirschbeck. So a good job there by Archie Bradley to strand Story at second. It's a 1-1 game at Coors. Some fancy footwork there, Bob, to end that bottom of the first on the part of Archie Bradley, but it could have been very dangerous here.
Yeah, watch Archie go across the bag here. Boy, fortunately, Gerardo Parra hit the front edge of the base and just ever so slightly clipped that right foot. That's a way to get the leg broken right there.
But Archie seemed to be all right, and we start the second in the 1-1 ball game with Wellington Castillo against Tyler Chatwood. 2 big strikeouts for Bradley to strand Story at second. Castillo belts that into center, and that's the second Diamondback hit, a leadoff single. Our eye on defense for the Rockies, sponsored by Nationwide Vision Centers.
It'll be Parra in left, Blackman in center, Gonzalez over in right field, Arenado and Story on the left side of the infield, LeMahieu and Reynolds on the right side. Walters doing the catching for right-hander Tyler Chatwood.
And here is the right fielder, Chris Herman. Chris hitting .238 now with 4 homers. 2 of those home runs came yesterday in Atlanta. And they were not cheapies.
Ooh, man, both of them blasted, especially that first one off the foul pole.
Let's take a look. This was the first home run at Turner Field, 3/4 of the way up the foul pole, and then tied up in extras. That one, that was the big blow of the ball game. And he's back in the lineup as Babe Herman. Got to get that bat in there somewhere, Chip Hale said today, and he was only half joking. And Herman getting the start in right field. David Peralta out with a sore wrist. Yasmani Tomas still dealing with neck stiffness. And Herman has actually played a fair amount of the outfield in the big leagues with the Twins. In fact, this is his 32nd career outfield start and his 21st in right field. So he's actually the most experienced outfielder of the group that Chip Hale has put out there tonight. He's got a third baseman, a shortstop, and a catcher playing the outfield here at Coors.
Yeah, I was surprised. I knew Herman had played some outfield. I didn't realize he had played that much outfield. But yeah, you're right. He's had the most experience as far as games started in the outfield of anybody the Diamondbacks have out there tonight.
You can see that weird mix of shadow and sun this time of day. And Chris has worked the count full 3-2. The sun sets behind the left field foul pole here. Shift is on for the Rockies, and Herman hits right into it. LeMahieu spins and throws. Arenado is there for the force on Castillo, and that's it. So 4-5 on the force at second. Herman aboard fielder's choice, and it brings up Chris Owings.
And LeMahieu knew the runner at first base was not the fastest Diamondback, Wellington Castillo. Even though he ranged far to his left to get to that ball, he still had time to wheel around and get the lead runner at second base.
Chris Owings hitting .261. He's knocked in 7 runs and had a pair of hits yesterday in the win in Atlanta. Oh, 0-2.
We talked about that afternoon sun fading away to the west, which is where it usually goes.
Most of the time.
Really only affects the first baseman on pickoff attempts or throws from the foul line on the third base side of the field. I remember Todd Helton, and he's as good a first baseman as there ever was. He used to complain all the time about dealing with that sun on pickoff attempts.
First base is in the shadow right now, just to the edge of it. He missed away, a ball and 2 strikes. Chris Owings has always hit well in this ballpark. This has been a nice fit for CO. In 20 games here at Coors, 16 starts, he's hitting .382 with 10 doubles and 2 home runs.
13 driven in 20 ball games. Pretty solid numbers for CO here at Coors Field.
That's what the first baseman would be looking into probably about a half hour ago, in fact. This is hit out to Gonzalez in right field out there in the sunlight. 2 down. Nick Ahmed. 168, 3 homers for Nick. Chris Herman, the runner at first, 2 outs. One thing about Tyler Chatwood, you know he's going to be around the strike zone because he seems to succeed in part by really limiting base runners. He's only, as you mentioned, Bob, earlier, walked 8 guys in just under 38 innings this year. And he has cut his walk rate by half over what it was before he had a second Tommy John surgery. So you're going to get something to hit. Ahmed down 0-2.
There's a valid point too, talking about his short arm stroke out there on the mound. You know, most pitchers really have a long delivery. They'll drop that ball down behind them and really reach out towards second base before pivoting and throwing the ball toward home. Chatwood, a little bit like a catcher, just kind of puts that ball up near his ear and fires it.
Nick able to lay off that one, and it's 1-2. Chatwood had 1 Tommy John surgery in high school. His other one cost him most of 2014 and all of last year. So he's had a lot of success with a cut fastball instead of his old slider. Trying to give that elbow a break. 2-2. He was a 16-year-old sophomore in high school when he had his first Tommy John. And the second in July of 2014. Two and 2 on Nick Ahmed. Full count, 3-2. So Nick, who was down 0-2, has worked it back full with the pitcher Archie Bradley on deck. Chris Herman at first. He'll be off with a pitch. That really means something in this ballpark with the size of these gaps in the outfield. There goes Herman.
We talked about it every time we come in here to Coors Field. Because the ball carries so well, the outfielders play deeper than normal, so that a lot of times a rolling single through the infield can be turned into a hustle double because the outfielders are playing so deep. Same thing for a runner at first. A single through the infield, yeah, you possibly go first to third easily.
Another 3-2. Herman takes off, and Nick once again fouls it off. He's really battled here after falling behind. No balls and 2 strikes. How would you deal with this field if you were the skipper? You know, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, they've tried everything. They've tried bunching the outfielders together to take away the gaps. They've tried playing them a little shallower to take away some of those blue pits that drop in front. But then you get a ball hit over your head, it's a triple, maybe an inside the park home run. I don't know if there's an easy answer for that that side of the ball.
He hits it right to LeMahieu at second base. And that's the end of the inning. Bottom 2 from Coors Field coming up. D-backs and Rockies tied at 1.
D-backs and the Rockies tied at 1 as we head to the bottom of the second. Let's take a look back in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. Who is that skinny guy?
I think that's Mark Grace.
You're absolutely right. Mark Grace hit for his one and only cycle of his major league career. Of course, Gracie used to always say he could turn triples into doubles with the best of them because of his lack of speed, but on this particular day, single, double, triple homer.
Slow home run trot around the bases at Wrigley there, too. Mark Reynolds, the former Diamondback, leads off the Rockies' second against Archie Bradley. And Reynolds is at .333. He's homered twice. Diamondbacks again will go into the defensive overshift with a right-hand hitter up there. See this more and more often with teams all over the major leagues. They have 3 infielders on the left-hand side, and Goldie all by himself midway between first and second. Reynolds, a 1-year deal with the Rockies in December. He's making about $2.5 million this year. Another $1 million is on the table in incentives. What are we thinking about the lack of a real windup from Archie Bradley here? We saw him all this spring with his hands different, working out of a windup. We saw him pitch from the stretch to start the ball game.
It's just kind of an abbreviated windup. Try to simplify things a little bit. You may remember last year he used to hold his hands up in front of his face, very similar to Curt Schilling. Just much like a hitter. When things aren't working the way you want them to, simplify. Get back to basics. And Archie, for him, this is about the simplest windup we've seen him use.
3-2 to Reynolds. Hits it up in the air. Bright sunlight out there. Chris Herman fighting it in right.
Man, he looks good out there.
The Babe. Babe Herman. Got to get that bat in there somewhere. DJ LeMahieu, the Rockies' second baseman. 302, 2 homers, and both those home runs came in the season opening series at Chase Field.
And you want to talk about a guy crossing up the spray charts. DJ LeMahieu pulling 2 home runs.
He is the king of the opposite field hit.
Absolutely. He lives up the middle and to the right side.
Archie getting ahead in the count. This is a good sign so far. Mid-90s fastballs. He's been ahead 0-1, 1-2. That's the formula for success. As you can see, he will go the opposite way a lot more than he'll go to his pull field. Missed inside at 94. It's 1-1. Archie said after that San Francisco start, when things went south for him pretty quickly, he never could really get comfortable, never could really find it in that game against the Giants, and really had to battle the whole night. So if he can get a nice clean second inning after getting the last 3 in the first, get a chance to settle in, find some rhythm, I got to imagine, Bob, that would really help him out.
Oh, absolutely. A quick inning where you're not out there grinding with runners on base, hitters counts. Just get 3 quick outs, get your team back in that dugout. Takes all the pressure in the world off.
Been ahead most of the night so far, but behind on LeMahieu. 3 balls and a strike. That one is rolled into the shift, and Segura's there. 5 in a row set down by Archie Bradley. And the catcher, Tony Walters, steps up. Rockies had to put Nick Hundley, who went to the U of A, on the 15-day DL Friday. He's got a left oblique strain, so they have Garneau and Walters here as their catchers.
Where'd Nick Hundley go to school?
I believe it's the University of Arizona.
No kidding.
Dustin Garneau was recalled from AAA Albuquerque. Walters was here. He won the backup job coming out of camp. He beat out Garneau, but now they're both here. And he hits the first pitch he sees to Nick Ahmed, who clanks it trying to recover, and he won't get Walters, who runs well. He's a converted infielder. And don't take this the wrong way, but he's got a little better than catcher speed.
Yeah, he is. I mean, for a backup catcher, he's a little bit similar to Chris Herman in that you can play him all over the field. He's played middle infield and still has those middle infielders' legs, able to beat that one out.
chance there to clear the pitcher's spot for the Rockies. After that one got away from Nick. So Chatwood will hit with Walters at first and 2 down.
That sun becoming a factor over there at first base. Goldie's got his bare hand up, shielding his eyes. Same thing for the runner, Tony Walters.
There's the strike 0-1. That shadow is creeping back toward home plate. I like this. He's not messing around with the pitcher. 0-2.
Very. Go right after.
This is squirted the other way. Tough play for Segura, who kicks that one. And Chatwood's aboard. They'll have 2 on and 2 out for Charlie Blackmon, the leadoff man. That was a tough play for Gene. He got there in time, but just couldn't get a handle on it.
A lot of ground to cover, just in and out of the glove right there. Boy, Gene Segura and Nick Ahmed both having trouble handling the ball cleanly in the early going here.
I always like to let Charlie have his walk-up music. Love the outfield. They had 2 good songs. That was pretty much it.
They had another one?
Yeah, there was other that was kind of as good.
Okay.
Blackmon singled and scored to lead off the Rocky first. That was, by the way, ruled a base hit for Tyler Chatwood. Where do you stand on 80s music?
I like some of it. Yeah. I mean, I like all music.
You're a big music guy.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Culture Club? Not so much.
I'd rather listen to the Chase Darno band down in Atlanta.
I'll tumble for you.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, but I like to try to think you gain something about a guy's personality by the music he chooses to walk up to the plate to.
Well, Charlie Blackmon's got a personality.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. 2 on and 2 out, 2 and 1.
If you hear some Charlie Daniels or something, you know, hey, this country boy here. He likes country western music. Probably likes barbecue. Probably has a pickup truck out in the players' lot.
It's like a country music video. Missed away. And this is how you get in trouble, falling behind in counts. Archie's got to stay ahead in counts. He's behind here 3 and 1. This is where he ran into trouble in San Francisco. Always battling from behind. That's out of play, and it's a full count, 3 and 2. Trevor Story would be next. Walters, the catcher, is at second. Chatwood, the pitcher, at first. He'll be off for this one. 40 pitches for Archie, 26 strikes. Runners go. A missed ball 4. The bases are loaded for Trevor Story. Well, that Nick Ahmed error, Bob, is looming pretty large right about now. And here's a guy who has really been a problem. Trevor Story, 9 hits against the Diamondbacks this year. 8 of them for extra bases. 2 doubles, a triple, and 5 homers. Mike Butcher.
Well, you're absolutely right about the Nick Ahmed error rather, but you know, how many times has Nick bailed out the pitching staff with his leather out there at shortstop? You know, sometimes you have to turn the table. The pitcher has to bail out the defense, and that's what they need right now from Archie Bradley.
Well, Archie stepped up in the first after Blackman singled and Story drove him in with a double. He got Gonzalez and Arenado to strike out, Parra to ground out, and ended the threat there. But he's going to have to come up with another one right here. Bases full, 2 down for Story. And remember, this is a guy who strikes out a lot, once in every 3 at-bats this year. In fact, he's 10 strikeouts ahead of Goldie for the National League lead. Out of play, 0-1. There you go, leading the National League in strikeouts. The only player in baseball who has more strikeouts than Trevor Story is the Tigers' Justin Upton. One and one. Right where you want to be, ahead of the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
In past series against the Rockies, we've seen Trevor Story chase elevated fastballs out over the plate, and I mean letter high or above out over the plate, swing right through some of those, and was really susceptible to that slider that starts on the outer third of the plate and then sweeps out of the zone low and away. There's a lot of hitters are susceptible to those 2 pitches.
Let's see where Wellington Castillo sets up. Down and in. At the knees, he missed. It's 2-2.
At least he missed in his favor. Like I mentioned before, if you're trying to go to the knees on the inside corner and you're going to miss farther inside or farther down.
Got to get this guy. There's a world of hurt coming up behind him. Bases full, 2 outs. And he drives it toward the right field corner, but it's leaking into the seats and out of play. Archie Bradley rings him up. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and he leaves him loaded. We will go to the third. Talk about, there's your pickup right there for the error. Archie Bradley, a big-time pitch right there.
That big strikeout by Archie Bradley with the bases loaded. Hey fans, D-backs home run tonight means a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Well, you mentioned it, Bob. It was time for the pitcher to pick up the shortstop. Archie would have had a nice easy 1-2-3 second if not for the Ahmed error. But then Chatwood singled, Blackman walked, and he came up with a big strikeout of Trevor Story. And Archie will lead off the third here. 1-1 ball game. Goldie a sac fly in the first. Trevor Story an RBI double in the first. There's the strike 0-1. Broken bat roller. Reynolds will take it himself, and that's the first out in the third. D-backs have lost 4 straight games against these guys. They haven't lost 5 in a row to Colorado in the same season since 2004. So it's time to change the mojo this year against the Rockies. Segura doubled and scored to lead off the ball game. Chip Hale says, you just got to play better. He was asked before the game, what do you got to do against the Rockies? How do you get? Well, we got to play better.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. And Chip told us before the game today, yeah, the Rockies outplayed the Diamondbacks in their 2 series at Chase last month. But he said Diamondbacks were straight overwhelmed by the Rockies in that last series, the 3-game sweep in Phoenix. That was his word, overwhelmed. Says you got to improve the way we play, got to be more timely with the hitting. Just got to do better. Chases that one 1-2.
And that can happen against any team in the major leagues. If you run into them at a time when their offense is clicking, the guys at the top of the order are getting on base, the guys in the middle are driving them in, even the guys at the bottom of the order are making things happen offensively. You can get overwhelmed by just about any team in either league.
There's a high bouncer over the mound for Story at shortstop, and he throws him out 2 down.
And it's especially overwhelming if you happen to not be swinging the bats well at that particular time, or pitching well, or fielding well, and you get a team that's on top of their game, and it's not pretty.
Yeah, that's a great example. The Diamondbacks caught the Giants when they were really down, swept a 4-game series in San Francisco. Caught the Marlins when Miami was playing very well to start this road trip, and got swept in 3 at Marlins Park. Brandon Drury takes ball 1. Vic Carapazza leaves no doubt as to whether the pitch is a ball or a strike.
Well, there's always some doubt as to whether it's a ball or a strike, but he's very sure of himself.
Might have been some doubt on that strike 3 to Trevor Story, in fact. Might have been a hair inside. We'll take it, though. Tapper back to the mound. Low throw, and Reynolds scoops it. And so Chatwood comes back, works a 1-2-3 inning, is set down 5 in a row. Tied at 1 at Coors. Ballpark food here at Coors. D-backs and Rockies, 1-1 bottom third. Time for greater coverage of baseball. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. As we look around the rest of the National League West, got the Padres at Wrigley. Oh, guess what? Bad weather in Chicago.
Oof.
The Dodgers are hosting the Mets. Steven Matz and Scott Kazmir. Giants get the Blue Jays. Aaron Sanchez, who's had a really good year for Toronto, against Jake Peavy, who's had a really bad year for San Francisco. I think they're going to have a lot of concerns about Peavy and Kane at the back end of that Giant rotation. Cargo, first pitch, lifts it high in the air, deep center field. Chris Owings has room, and somehow it stays in the yard.
Third baseman, number 20.
That one may have been higher than the rock pile back there.
And that's probably what kept it in the ballpark. The wind is blowing straight in from left center field according to the flags on top of the scoreboard, and that ball was hit a mile in the air. I think the wind may have helped knock that one down.
Yeah, the wind is blowing in here from center and left center. Well, let's hope it gusts even harder now with Nolan Arenado coming up. Archie creeping up on 50 pitches here through 2 1/3. There's a strike. You can see it's blowing in pretty good here today. It's been breezy all day in downtown Denver. Again, the Diamondbacks overload the left-hand side of the infield. That misses inside. It's 1-1. So Archie right now right at 50 pitches. 32 strikes. And you go back to the 2 plays in the bottom of the second, the error on Ahmed at shortstop and the base hit by Chatwood that Segura couldn't quite corral. Yes, it didn't cost them on the scoreboard because he was able to get the big strike out of Trevor Story, but he did have to throw 15 extra pitches in that inning. And in this ballpark, that means something.
Absolutely, it means something.
1-2 on Arenado.
And because of the thin air here in Colorado, we've talked about it every time we come here. Breaking balls just don't take the same kind of break that they will at other locations. Sinker balls don't sink as much as they would at other locations. It's when your location becomes vitally important. If you're going to miss with a curveball, just keep it out of the middle.
Well, Archie has been impressive in his 3 starts for Phil Nevin at AAA Reno since he went back to the minor leagues in the middle of last month. Really good numbers. A roller that rolls off the mound right to Segura with a shift on. Let's look at those numbers again. In his first start back with the Aces, Archie allowed just 1 run, 6 innings against Fresno. Then another 6 innings of 1-run ball against Albuquerque. He allowed only 2 hits in that start, did walk 4. 8 strikeouts, and then the previous outing, which was last Tuesday for Reno. Just a gem. 11 strikeouts, only 2 runs, 5 hits. He went 7 and threw 114 pitches. So those are 3 really good starts in a row.
Yeah, those first 2 coming in Reno, where we know it's not easy to pitch and keep the ball in the ballpark.
Very encouraging. Gerardo Parra. And so Archie, based on that performance in AAA, in part back up here to make this start tonight, but also in part to give Chip Hale the opportunity to push everybody else in the rotation back a day. Because as Chip told us, the Diamondbacks have had a lack of off days this season so far. They're trying to find ways to give the starters and everybody extra time whenever they can. And Archie, in fact, likely would have pitched yesterday in Atlanta, but they just couldn't get him there in time. And so he's here to make the start tonight. The idea is to give everybody else a rest, push everyone back. So Greinke will start against the Giants at Chase Field. Here's a little roller up the first base line. That's a fair ball. Goldie will take it himself. And a nice quick 1-2-3 inning for Archie Bradley. We are tied at 1 in Denver.
Paul Goldschmidt up to bat, a very productive out in his first at-bat, the sac fly RBI that got the D-backs on the board here in Colorado. A lot of questions today for Goldie and the coaches about the funk that he's been in. 1-10 in that Atlanta series. Goldie says, look, I'm trying to make adjustments to what's going on every day, whether things are going good or bad, but he hasn't made any drastic changes. Chip Hale said, look, his approach is pretty simple. His mechanics are simple. They're not looking to change that. And Dave Maganin said he needs to string a couple of hits together and get that swagger back. He used the word swagger and confidence for Goldie to get that back.
You see a lack of swagger?
I've never seen Goldie swagger. I know occasionally he has a lot of self-confidence with the way he's swinging the bat, but he never takes it completely over to swagger. But I think he's absolutely right. You know, you square a couple balls up and hit it hard. It's more a feeling than anything else. There it is. There's the timing I need. There's the rhythm I need to get the bat on the ball and hit it hard.
2-2. Goldie, he is stuck in a 6-for-40 skid right now. And his batting average for the year has dropped more than 40 points during that stretch. He's got 1 RBI in his last 13 games. And they have missed the production, that's for sure. But he's worked the count to 3-2. Another walk for the major league leader. Well, Chip today was answering a lot of Goldie questions. What's wrong with Goldie? Everybody has a theory. All the fans want to know.
Third baseman, number 22, Jake Lamb.
More walks than hits on the season by a wide margin for Goldie.
Chip says that Goldie is 100% healthy right now. Good to go. He is totally sharp mentally and physically, which is why Chip says he hasn't given him a day off. He said if he felt like Goldie was burned out or if there was something wrong physically, he would take him out of the lineup, but there's not. So it's nothing there. And as Jody mentioned, he's got a very simple swing, right? Mechanically, there's nothing you would tinker with Goldie or change in what he does, is there?
Well, occasionally, you know, as he sticks the bat straight over his shoulder, straight down his back, as that pitcher delivers, occasionally he's been a little bit slow getting the bat back up into the hitting position. And on those particular at bats, it looks like he's rushing to catch up. We've seen him check swing a lot more than we've ever seen him do in the past. And I think that's a byproduct sometimes of just trying to hurry and catch up instead of getting everything ready just a little bit sooner.
Jake Lamb ahead, 3 balls and no strikes. Walters will go out and have a conversation with Chatwood. So he walked Goldie to lead off the inning. And he's behind on Lamb 3-0. Chatwood had retired the last 5 he'd faced coming into this 4th. Chip said he wants to see Goldie getting aggressive and letting it fly. So let it go. There's the strike, 3-1.
That's what he'd like to see from Jake Lamb on this 3-1 pitch if it's close to that strike zone. And we've seen Jake take some bigger home run style swings when he's had the count in his favor lately.
Jake is hitting an even 300 on the road trip, and that includes 3 2-hit games for him. In fact, he had 2 hits and an RBI in each of the last 2 games in Atlanta. Rockies overload the right-hand side against him. That's ball 4. Goldie was taken off with a pitch, but it's a walk. Back-to-back walks for Chatwood, a guy who, as we talked about, had walked only 8 batters all year. And that's how he opens up the 4th.
Well, that's a sign of the confidence that Chip Hale has in Jake Lamb. A 3-1 count. You send the runner at first base, trusting that if the ball's not in the strike zone, Jake will take it for ball 4. If it is in the strike zone, he'll put a good swing on it, put it in play. So he felt confident enough to go ahead and send Goldie on that 3-1 pitch.
Wellington Castillo knocked one up the middle his first time up. 50 pitches for Chatwood, 30 strikes, and there's another one. Castillo's hit safely now in 5 straight games, all on this road trip. Babe Herman on deck. Tell you what, this catching duo this year, BB, Castillo and Herman, they've combined to hit 11 home runs. That's the highest total by any team's catchers in baseball.
Nice.
So they're being led by the catchers here.
Of course they are. It's a nice combination. The right-handed hitting Castillo, the left-handed hitting Herman.
And that is actually tied for third most home runs at any single position this year. A lot of production from these two guys. Lights are beginning to take more of an effect here in the field as that sun goes down. Big cut by Castillo, and he strikes out. That's the first strikeout for Tyler Chatwood.
Kind of a breaking ball up there around the letters. Didn't take much of a break, but it was off speed enough to fool Wellington Castillo that time.
Chris Herman reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. Goldie the runner at second, Jake Lamb at first. Missed inside, a ball, 1-0. Chris Herman has been on a roll. He has hit safely in each of his previous 5 games, his last 5 starts. And in those last 5 starts, 9 for 19. 4 homers and 10 RBIs. 1-1. He has looked like a very different hitter up there than the guy who started this season 1 for 20 with 7 strikeouts. And that's when Chris admits he was at a pretty low point that first couple of weeks. And he really credits Dave Magadan and Mark Grace a lot for helping him out. Those guys have been excellent sounding boards for him. He says they're 2 good ones to go to.
And both left-handed hitters in their playing career. I think there's something to be said for that too. I mean, there are certain basic fundamentals, whether you're a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter, that apply to everybody. But I think sometimes if you have a left-handed hitting coach and you're a left-handed hitter, that's just a certain terminology, a certain commonality to the language.
Oh, that one got Vic Carapazza back there hard. Look, I'm fine. It's nothing. That was a major league foul tip. Got him on the shoulder.
He's got protection in the front, but if that umpire bends too far forward, that protection isn't there on the back of the shoulder.
Ooh, right on the collarbone. I think he's saying exactly what you were saying.
Need to bring back the mattress.
I love it. Old school. Actually more on the top of the shoulder, it looks like.
Looked like it might have snuck over that shoulder guard and burned him right on the top and back of the shoulder.
Well, Chatwood walked Goldie and Lamb to open up the inning. He struck out Castillo. Now he's ahead of Chris Herman, a ball and 2 strikes. Remember, both of the home runs yesterday. With 2 strikes. This is bounced to Reynolds, who knocks it down, falls over, gets up, and records the out. They move the runners along. So it's second and third now. 2 outs for Chris Owings. CO flying out his first time up.
Boy, need a big knock right here. 2 runners in scoring position.
Big opportunity. As Chip Hale said, one way to turn your luck around against these Rockies, be more timely with our hits. Well, this is the perfect time. Ball 1. And Chris had a couple of hits yesterday in the win over the Braves. Goldie at third, Jake Lamb at second. Chris with 3 hits, 4 bases on balls on this road trip. He hits it to Story at shortstop. And Chatwood walks the first 2 in the inning, but strands them both and keeps it a 1-1 ball game. Rockies as we start the home half of the 4th. And fans, this summer, one of the biggest names in soccer converge on the U.S. for the 100th anniversary of one of the world's biggest tournaments. Coverage of the Copa America begins June 3rd across the networks of Fox Sports. And on June 5th, live from Glendale, it's Mexico and Uruguay on FS1 at 5 o'clock at the Copa.
The Copa.
Our own Phil Mollica will be directing some of those games, I'm told.
Yeah.
There was a small paperwork international issue. We got cleared up and allowed Phil to direct those games.
I know there are certain states he's not allowed to cross the border, so
have to fly around some of them. Reynolds flied out his first time up, and he blasts it to center. Here comes CO right at him, in fact. And that's a good example of what Chip Hale was talking about in the ball game. They have talked to all these outfielders. This ball in this ballpark will sail on you. And it's something that A.J. Pollock spoke about as well with some of the Diamondback outfielders. Wait till you get to Coors, because that one almost took off on them.
yeah, we saw A.J. struggle with some of those last year out near the bullpen in right center field. Balls that he thought he had a beat on just took off on him. Not only that, but fly balls, just routine fly balls will stay in the air a lot longer than they do anywhere else. You can get cramps in your neck looking up at an infield pop-up.
Yeah, Chris said he's had this one on his radar for a while, ever since he became a center fielder. DJ LeMahieu grounded out his first time up. 60 pitches for Archie, 41 strikes. He's ahead quickly, 0-2. A lot of room out there at a high altitude. It's windy. Yikes. That wind is blowing in. Archie Bradley has set down 5 in a row now. He's ahead of LeMahieu, 0-2. He's retired the last 4 hitters on only 12 pitches. That one is smack fair down the right field line. LeMahieu will take the turn. Herman has trouble with it in the corner, and LeMahieu's he's gonna put on the brakes at second base. He took a big turn, then changed his mind as he got a look at Stu Cole down there. That could have got ugly.
Yeah, that's more the DJ LeMahieu we're used to. That inside-out swing, slashes it down that right field line. I saw Chris Herman during the Diamondbacks batting practice out there in the corner playing balls just like that to see what kind of carom you might get on a rolling ball down the line. If it hits the padding, does it hit the flat part of the padding? Does it hit the chain link fence? Played that one about as good as you possibly could to hold LeMahieu to 2.
The catcher, Tony Walters now. LeMahieu at second, 1 away. Walters reached on a Nick Ahmed error his first time up. He's in there at a $1.63 on the year. As we mentioned earlier, Todd Hundley on the 15-day DL. He was scratched from a game, or Nick Hundley, I should say, pardon me, last Thursday when he felt a little tweak in his oblique during batting practice. So he's on the DL. They have Dustin Garneau and Tony Walters as their catchers for this series.
Nothing worse than a tweaked oblique.
Hello. Tweaked oblique, that's a good band name.
Yeah, I like it.
You call it. This is a guy, Walters, who hit about 400 during spring training and won the backup catching job. Only a month after he was waived by the Cleveland Indians. Archie's fallen behind 3-0. He'd been rolling along there. This time last year, Walters was hitting .209 in Double-A ball. There's a strike, 3-1. He walked him. Double and a walk have put 2 on for the pitcher, Tyler Chatwood. Second walk issued by Archie.
In general, this would be a bunting situation, but no guarantees with Walt Weiss in this ballpark, and with Tyler Chatwood at the plate, this guy can swing the bat a little bit.
He rolled one in the hole between first and second his first time up that Gene Segura made a nice stop on, but couldn't collect it to record the out, and they gave Chatwood a single. And here he is again.
Jake Lamb expecting a bunt. Just a couple steps in front of the bag at third.
There's a strike. Stu Cole coming about halfway down that third base line to flash the signs to Chatwood. Goldie in on the grass at first as well. Holds back, it's a ball, 1-1.
I like Castillo on both those first 2 pitches came up ready to throw to second base. Talked about it before. It's a dangerous proposition when you're that runner at second. If that pitcher would happen to bunt right through the ball, you always take that extra step or 2 trying to get a jump toward third base, and then you become susceptible to that shortstop sneaking in behind.
2 balls and a strike. Mayhew is the runner at second. Walters at first. 70 pitches for Archie, 45 strikes. Ahmed sneaking in behind LeMahieu there. Goldie crashes from first. That's a ball, and it's 3-1.
Trying to give you an out. Throw a strike.
Blackman, Story, Cargo, Arenado all coming up next. 3-1 pitch. He walked him. He walked the pitcher trying to bunt. Back-to-back walks have loaded the bases with 1 out for Charlie Blackmon. The pitcher trying to give himself up, but he gets a free pass. That'll bring Mike Butcher out of the D-back dugout. And Archie will have to work out of another bases loaded jam, just like he did in that second inning.
Really playing with fire. When you put those runners at the bottom of the order on base for the Rockies and then roll around to the guys at the top that can really do some damage if you make a mistake on them, you're just playing with fire.
I mean, you walk the guy Walters who's sitting at $163, and then you walk the pitcher who is trying to give himself up. 3 walks for Archie. Blackmon has singled, scored a run, and walked. Archie had retired 5 in a row before the LeMahieu double. A walk to Walters, a walk to Chatwood. Here's Blackmon. Ball 1. Blackmon starting to settle in now after he missed 13 games last month. Had a turf toe injury in his left foot, but he's now hit safely in 7 straight games. High fly ball for Chris Herman in right field. DJ LeMahieu's at third. And here he comes. The throw is into the shortstop. It goes through. Ahmed Lamb corrals it. LeMahieu scores, and it's 2-1 Rockies.
Nice job by Chris Herman to stay behind that ball, get something on that throw to third base. Another one that kind of got through Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Fortunately, Jake Lamb in his quick hands over there at third was able to keep that ball from rolling into foul territory.
LeMahieu scores. Walters tags up second and third. So they're on the corners with 2 down for Trevor Story, who has an RBI double, and he struck out looking his last time up with the bases full on a pitch that looked to be a bit inside from Archie Bradley, but Vic Carapazza said strike 3. So Archie once again has really had to labor here in the 4th. The middle of the order, Cargo, Arenado, Parra, a combined 0 for 6 so far. It's been the bottom of the order that's been the problem. LeMahieu, the 7-hole hitter, has doubled and now scored. Walters, the catcher, has reached twice. Chatwood, the pitcher, has reached twice. And with the exception of Story's RBI double in the first, none of the big boys have done anything at all. Blasted to center, and it gets by Owings. That's a disaster. Walters scores. Chatwood is coming on in. He's running through the stop sign from Stu Cole, and now Story is hung up, but the run scores before they record the out. All that room out there, and it scored the pitcher all the way from first base. And the Rockies end up with 3 in the inning to take a 4-1 lead. That is the big fear here, right?
Yep, no question about it. Ball hit hard right at CO in center field, and it just took off. My grass might be a little damp right now at this time of night. Just shot right by him.
And so they record the out at third, but the Rockies get 3, and through 4, they have a 4-1 lead.
There in the fourth. We go to the fifth. A big change here at Coors Field. In fact, the biggest change since using the humidor back 14 years ago. The walls have been made higher. There's the wall on the left field line. It is 5 feet higher now at 13 feet. And then you go over to the visitors' bullpen. Right center, that's been lifted 9 feet higher to 16 feet 6 inches. And so they use StatCast here, the launch angle on certain balls to reduce maybe the amount of home runs, and they're projecting maybe 10 to 12 fewer home runs. Trevor Story's actually been the victim a few times, if you want to call it that, guys. He's missed out on a couple of home runs that have hit up against that fence. So you see the difference, it's drastic. In fact, Bob Gebhardt, who was originally, of course, here with the Rockies in that founding group, now with the Diamondbacks front office, he was trying to get an 8-foot plexiglass put on top of the fence way back in the day, but people complained about the sight lines and things like that. But it's a drastic change here, and you know, pitchers say maybe it helps. We're not as scared to pitch here, but the hitters here certainly, Trevor Story in particular, he's got a couple triples now that might have been home runs, guys.
Doing what they can. Not much.
Yeah. Actually, Trevor Story has lost 3 potential home runs out there in right center field because of that new fencing.
Jeff Bridich is the GM here. He said they wanted to make the ballpark potentially more playable and more fair for the pitchers. And now we're set for the 5th inning as Nick Ahmed leads it off.
I think short of moving the mound 5 feet closer to home plate, you're not going to help the pitchers much in this ballpark, no matter what you do.
Well, it's the first fairground fencing change in Coors Field history. This park has been open since '95. And they're going to try this for 1 year, they say, to see what happens. And there's a roller to Story at shortstop. And Archie Bradley will hit with 1 out in the 5th. They figured out where every home run left the ballpark here and touched down. They actually, as Jody mentioned, studied and tracked 577 home runs that have been hit in Coors Field the previous few years. And some of those areas they addressed were the high home run areas. But what you've got with that chain link fence, and Charlie Blackmon talked a lot about this. Remember, you've got a rubber pad, some padding out there, some kind of foam, whatever it is. It's going to carry them off that one way, but when it hits that chain link fence out there, it just, Charlie Blackmon says, kills the bounce. And so you see outfielders having to go further out there to field the ball because it doesn't come back to them like it used to.
And if you go all the way back there to the fence on the warning track and it happens to hit one of those padded areas or the out-of-town scoreboard down in the right field corner, that one will ricochet back toward the infield, and you might find yourself playing too close to the fence in that occasion. And I'm not an easy outfield to play by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, you need guys that can cover ground. But even above and beyond that, balls hit over your head off the scoreboard, off the chain link, off the padding. Might do something different every time.
Well, what they're really hoping to do is curb that jet stream for the left-hand hitters that tends to blow out to that area in right center by the bullpens, and keep some of those home runs that were line drive home runs, at least keep them in the yard.
When I first heard about this, I joked that if they really want to help the pitchers, they'd extend the fence all the way to the facing of the upper deck. But I've actually seen 2 home runs that would have gone over that. Carlos Gonzalez hit a walk-off grand slam here against the Cubs one night that landed way up there near the rooftop. And Barry Bonds also hit one out almost up to the purple stripe near the top of the upper deck.
They did a brilliant job with the rooftop up there. It is just spectacular. There's a lot of fans up there right now. In fact, you get breathtaking views of the entire city, the lower downtown area, the skyline. There's 2 levels there. There's a bar, there's a restaurant, there's a lounge, there's all that area where you can stand, and you've got sort of a table in front of you to put your food on as Archie strikes out. Chatwood gets him his second strikeout. There it is. You can just kind of chill and watch the game and take in the view and socialize. That was all just dead space up there, empty seats that nobody ever bought or sold.
No.
And now it's the most popular area in the ballpark.
The place to see and be seen.
Well, you know, BB, if you've got some game, you got to head up there.
That's why we're here in the press box.
Exactly. Gene Segura, you got it. We're not even allowed up there. We are not on the list. Segura doubled and scored to lead off the ball game. That extended his hit streak to 7. And he sends this out the other way to Cargo. It's carrying on him, and that ball is gone. Gene Segura, boy, that one sailed over Cargo's head over that new right field wall where everything has been raised. And he's got his 5th home run. They raised the fence to match the height of that wall and make it uniform all the way across, so Segura got one that cleared it.
Left fielder.
And that one may have gotten a little bit of an assist from the wind.
Yeah.
Pushing from left to right now, hit it high in the air out that direction. Cargo gave it a good decoy like he was going to make a catch, and then it just sails over that out-of-town scoreboard for a solo homer.
Gene Segura makes it a 4-2 ball game. Diamondbacks get one back. And here's Brandon Drury. That's a jumbo jack. Gene 2 for 3, a double and a homer. He has scored twice. Oh, and 2 on Drury.
Flexing his muscles over there in the dugout. Yeah.
Opposite field power.
Got to be strong to hit him out there.
2 and 2. Missed again. The count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. He walked him. Third walk issued by Tyler Chatwood, who had walked only 8 batters all season long in his previous 6 starts. And now he's at 80 pitches, only 49 strikes, and that'll bring out Steve Foster, the pitching coach, for a mound visit as Goldie steps in. They got the first 2 in the inning. Ahmed grounded out. Bradley struck out. But Segura, an opposite field home run that carried out of here, and now a walk to Drury. And how about Paul Goldschmidt, who walked his last time up. He's now reached base safely in 42 consecutive games against the Rockies.
Wow, that's just remarkable. Many of those were base on balls when they just refused to pitch to him, but a lot of them have been ringing hits.
A chance for Goldie. He's got an RBI sac fly and a base on balls. He drives that one into center, a base hit. And again, aggressive in the count early. He jumped on the first pitch. We saw him do that on his RBI back in the first.
We talk all the time about adjustments in baseball, and Goldie has a reputation around the game as being a very patient hitter. We see it on a nightly basis. A guy that's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Very patient, especially early in the at-bat, unless there's runners in scoring position. So, yeah, occasionally flip the record over. Attack that first pitch in the strike zone.
Jake Lamb has hit into a double play. He walked his last time up, 0 for 1.
Especially against a strike thrower like Chatwood. Now, granted, he's been spraying it around a little bit tonight.
Jake Lamb sends that way out of here. Gone! Upper deck for Jake Lamb. That is number 4. And the Diamondbacks have come back to take the lead. That was launched out of here. Cargo didn't even bat an eyelash. Halfway up the second deck in right. Gone.
That one made that sound. Oh, man, nice quick swing. Look at that thing fly.
Now that is a jumbo jack. Number 4 for Lamb, and it's 5-4 Diamondbacks. All of this with 2 outs. 445 feet, we are told, on the Jake Lamb homer.
Oh, and also 5 runs means tacos tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Well, like he broke his bat, a little flare. Blackman coming in, and he won't get there. Castillo's aboard. He's headed for second, and he's going to get in there. And the inning continues for the Diamondbacks. A tough play for Blackman, who was on a dead run in from deep center field. And it's a double for Beef Wellington, his second hit tonight. So they've gone home run, walk, single, home run, double, all with 2 outs.
I think you're right. I think he did break his bat. Blackman froze momentarily in center field and then just couldn't quite make up the ground. When he makes the diving attempt, he kicks it over into the gap in left center, allowing Castillo to move into scoring position.
And Babe Herman steps in. Vic Carapazza waiting to see if the Rockies want to challenge. Bullpen will get busy for Colorado. Looks like Christian Bergman back there. Boy, it's scenic back there, isn't it nice?
Yeah, that's where Bambi grew up.
Fouled away. Herman so far 0 for 2. Another run out there for Chris if he can get Castillo home from second. Once again, the Diamondbacks tonight without Yasmani Tomas, still dealing with that neck stiffness. David Peralta out with that wrist soreness. So it's an outfield of Brandon Drury in left, Chris Owings in center, and Chris Herman getting the start tonight in right field. His first start out there since May of 2014 with the Twins. Here's the 0-2. This is in the air, deep right center field. Long run for Blackman. He won't chase it down. It's off that new fencing out there. And Babe Herman is in there now with an RBI triple. He's at it again. The Babe. 6-4 D-backs. He gets Castillo home from second.
Diamondbacks have hit for the cycle in this inning. That pitch was down and out over the plate, and he hooked it back to the gap in right center. Got up in that jet stream that you talked about. Short hopped the fence. And Chris Herman in with a triple.
So Chris Herman's run continues. Coming off his 2-homer day yesterday in Atlanta. A 2-out RBI triple here in Colorado. And the 9th man to bat in the Arizona 5th steps up. It's Chris Owings. And he rolls it to LeMahieu at second. But the Diamondbacks get 5 in the 5th. Segura an opposite field homer. And Jake Lamb launches one 445. Herman the RBI triple. It's 6-4 Diamondbacks.
Head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, like tonight, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with a purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
6 straight reach for the Diamondbacks. 5 of them scored. All with 2 outs. And so Archie Bradley has a 6-4 lead. As we start the home half of the 5th, Gonzalez, Arenado, Parra, 3, 4, and 5, and it's the middle of this Rockies order, the big boys, who have been quiet. Goldie, it's off the glove and it rolls into right field. Gonzalez will reach. Gonzalez, Arenado, Parra, and Reynolds, a combined 0 for 8 with 2 strikeouts before Cargo reaches there to lead off the 5th.
That's just a tough break right there. Goldie with a diving attempt. It just barely ticked off his glove enough to change the direction and keep it away from Gene Segura, who was going to be right there in position to make the play, but rolls on into right field for a leadoff base hit.
Nolan Arenado now. He has struck out, grounded out 0 for 2. And Arenado's been crushing it lately, hitting nearly 400 over his last 12 games, including 5 home runs. Out to Herman in right. He's got it just shy of the warning track for the first out. How about the Babe?
Babe is doing it all. I'll tell you, I was watching him on that play right there. Got a nice jump, took a good line to the ball. Looks like a natural.
Well, it's interesting. Chip Hale told us today that of the Diamondbacks' 3 outfielders tonight, Chris Herman is the one he is least worried about. Because he knows he's a good athlete. In fact, Chip saw Herman play the outfield before over in the American League, and he's got the most experience of all 3 outfield starters tonight. We've got Owings in center and Drury in left.
Yeah, probably, well, I don't think probably. He does have the best throwing arm from the outfield of those three guys.
Archie at 80 pitches, 51 strikes. Gerardo Parra. That ball is foul. It's 0-1. Parra has twice grounded out. He's 0 for 2. Archie looking for the shutdown inning. Gonzalez had the infield single to lead it off. After that 5-run Diamondback fifth. And this game has turned out to be exactly what Chip Hale told Archie Bradley it would be, a prize fight. There will be big punches. There will be knockout blows. There will be multiple run innings. You got to hang in there. And he has hung in there. Two and one. That's a fair ball down the left field line. Parra shoots it the other way. Gonzalez will stop at third. It's a double for Gerardo Parra, his 11th this year. Now the middle of this Rockies order starting to make some noise.
Good hitting right there by Gerardo Parra. Want to pitch away from him. Just slapped it right down that third baseline.
Second and third, one away now, and Mark Reynolds comes up. Reynolds has hit the ball hard twice tonight, but he's 0 for 2.
Yeah, Walt Weiss has been talking about Mark Reynolds and his improved approach at the plate this year. Obviously a guy that strikes out a ton, or has in the past anyway, but has tried to shorten up his swing a little bit this year, try to hit it to the big part of the field.
Bullpen getting busy for the Diamondbacks. Looks like Zach Curtis, the rookie left-hander, is warming up, and warming up quickly. There's Zach. Garvin Alston, the bullpen coach. Gonzalez at third, Parra at second, one out. There's the strike, 0-1. Reynolds has been hitting consistently in this Rockies lineup. He's batting .385 over his last 16 games, and nearly all of those have been starts. Diamondbacks overload the left-hand side of the infield. There's the strike. It's 0-2. And Reynolds can't believe it. Boy, he is upset. Maybe a seam.
Maybe a seam. Go out there a little farther. See how much Vic Carapazza will give you off that outside corner.
Reynolds pretty problematic in these situations this year. He's got 9 RBIs. 1-2. Going away again. And he bounced it 2-2. Each team with 7 hits. he had him 0-2. Now the count is full. DJ LeMahieu on deck. "90 pitches, 56 strikes. Zach Curtis warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Got him. Archie Bradley with another big strikeout. He's only struck out 4 tonight, but they've all been big. DJ LeMahieu, one more big out to get here in the 5th. LeMahieu doubled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Gonzalez at third, Arano Parra at second. Ball 1.
With LeMahieu, we showed you his hits by direction in a previous at bat, most of them coming to center and right field. You'd almost think about playing a reverse shift on this guy. If he is such an opposite field hitter, why wouldn't you put your defense on the other side of the field?
That's a bouncer to Nick Ahmed. Long throw for Nick. And once again, Archie Bradley walks the high wire. He strands 2 and he keeps it 6-4 Diamondbacks. Back 5th, all this keep in mind with 2 outs. Segura, the opposite field homer, starts it off. Brandon Drury then drew a base on ball, so we keep going here. Goldie singles, and then Jake Lamb comes up and launches one 445 halfway up the second deck in right. But hold on, we're going to keep going. Castillo, the broken bat, bloop double, and then Babe Herman does it again. The RBI triple. Diamondbacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight reach, all with 2 outs. They score 5 and take a 6-4 lead. Those are the Gig Life high-speed highlights presented by Cox.
I don't know if you noticed, Chris Herman on that ball, he hit to right center and ended up with a triple. He dropped his head in the batter's box like, oh, there's a fly ball. It's a fly ball to center.
Or was it a home run?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Did you think you got it all, or did you think it was going to be an out?
Well, he is the Babe. There's the strike. Nick Ahmed, who leads off the 6th against Tyler Chatwood. Nick 0 for 2. He's twice grounded out. That's going to reach the seats. And we mentioned this right at the start of the ball game. If the Diamondbacks had an advantage, it is the ballpark, and they could use Chatwood's own ballpark here against him, and that's what they've done. Both his losses this year have come at Coors Field. He was hit pretty hard by the Giants and then again by the Dodgers. He has been outstanding on the road, really good. We learned that twice at Chase Field. He was outstanding at Wrigley Field last month. 2 hits in 7 scoreless innings against the Cubs. But he has had a rough time of it here in his own ballpark. And so this could be a problem as the year goes on. It often is.
Yeah, coming into play tonight, he was 0-2 here with a 7.20 ERA, 4-0 on the road with an 0.33.
And there you go. And that home ERA, we can update it now. It's a smidge below 8.5, so it's up to 8.40. According to the great Dan Hyatt, who is our researcher and stat man today, and generally does everything up here. Two. Got him. Archie Bradley, whose pitch count is right about 100, a smidge below, is going to take the at bat here. He's 0 for 2. Just the second strikeout for Tyler Chatwood, third strikeout for him. The funny thing about Chatwood struggling here in his own park this year, he had actually pitched really well here prior to this season. Now, pitching well here certainly carries its own definition of success as Archie grounds out, but in 24 appearances at Coors Field, 20 of them starts, he had gone 10-6. But the ERA, the whip a little high. That's part and parcel with pitching in this ballpark, but he'd won 10 games here before. But it's been slow going here in 2016. Gene Segura has doubled and scored and homered.
Yeah, your definition of what's a good outing changes drastically in this ballpark for a starting pitcher. Getting back to that analogy of a prize fighter, you know, you're going to take some punches here. You're going to get beat up occasionally. But if you have the mental fortitude to stay out there on the mound and continue to deal and continue to battle and give your offense a chance to get back in the game, you can win some ball games, of course.
This is out to Blackman in center. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Chatwood. Bottom 6 coming up from Coors Field. D-backs lead the Rockies 6-4. Lower downtown Denver Lodo, as they call it here. D-backs lead the Rockies 6-4, sent for the home half of the 6th inning. And we are introducing Mountain Dew Decision. So make the right decision. 2 great flavors, only 1 stays. 2 go in, only 1 leaves. Visit decision.com today.
Like a soft drink cage match.
It is. Thunderdome. It's the Thunderdome of soft drinks. With a cool, relaxing waters of Coors Field. A pitcher's paradise, if you will. Archie Bradley back out there at 93 pitches, and he'll work to the catcher, Tony Walters, who's the 8th place hitter.
A lot of Diamondbacks fans will remember this, but Miguel Batista back in the day, very active with Native American causes and charities, and one of his events that he went to, they presented him with a Native American flute.
Nice.
That he wanted to learn how to play. So he brought it with him on every road trip. We'd hear him in a broom closet or back in the laundry room. Well, they took a shot out in Bambyville out there in center field, and there was Miguel standing right in the batter's eye where the hitter could see him playing his flute out there in the woods.
Having a Zen moment. The Pied Piper of Coors Field.
Stop the game. Hey, you're going to have to move. You're right in the batter's eye.
Hey, the flute guy is sticking his head in the picture. Pitcher spot is due up next for the Rockies, and Christian Adames is in the on-deck circle. He'll hit for Chatwood. He survived to finish out 6 innings.
Well, Fernando Rodney had a similar experience out there in the woods.
What did he do, get lost?
I think he was having a picnic, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure. He was sitting under a tree out there, kind of hiding from everybody. I'm not sure what he was doing.
He might have been shooting his imaginary arrows at some wildlife out there.
Yeah, carving some new arrows out of tree branches. I'm not sure what he was doing out there.
Doing some pretend bow hunting. With his hat twisted sideways. Shooting arrows at imaginary deer. 2-2. Check swing roller to Lamb at third. And that's the first out in the 6th.
Your attention. Pitch hitting.
So we'll see Christian Adames hit for Chatwood. And Adames has had fewer than 40 plate appearances this year, only a handful of starts. He's in there at 147. Here comes Mike Butcher. We mentioned earlier about how well Archie has been pitching at AAA Reno. Just about at 100 pitches right now. Zach Curtis, the lefty on the right there, has been warming up for a while. And now the right-hander Jake Barrett on the left will start throwing as well. Really impressive in his last 3 starts for Phil Nevin and the Aces. And you go back to that one he made last Tuesday. That was an absolute gem. That's on the bottom there, May 3rd at Fresno. 7 innings, only 5 hits. He had 11 strikeouts. He threw 114 pitches in that ball game. So 98 right now for Archie. It is at the higher altitude, but then again, he was just pitching in the Coast League. Should be have enough at least to get through this inning, don't you think, Bob?
Well, I would think so. And, you know, it remains to be seen what will happen to Archie Bradley after this start. It's not out of the question he could find himself on a plane back to Reno. I mean, we've talked about it in past telecasts from this ballpark. Most teams bring an extra reliever when you come to Coors Field because you're probably going to need them. But in order to get Archie activated in time to start tonight, Enrique Burgos was optioned down to AAA Reno, so the Diamondbacks are a man down in the bullpen tonight.
100 pitches, 63 strikes. And this can be an ugly place to be if you're a man down in your bullpen.
Oof.
And you figure if Archie pitches tonight and he's over 100, that means he won't be able to be used for the next 4 or 5 days anyway.
Right.
So to keep him on the roster doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when you're in this ballpark.
Unless they see enough from Archie tonight that they decide to keep him in the rotation and maybe somebody else gets flipped out. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities of things that could happen. The most logical seems to be for Archie to take a spot start, go back to Reno, activate another relief pitcher in time for tomorrow's game. But we'll see what happens.
Just keep the shuttle going back and forth. The Reno reliever shuttle. 1-2 on Adames. This is on the ground to Segura at second. 2 up, 2 down for Archie, and here's Blackman.
Center fielder, number 19, Charlie Blackman.
Blackman has singled, scored a run. He's also walked and driven in a run with a sac fly. There's a strike, 0-1. You got a grade for Archie tonight? What do you think?
I've been very impressed. I mean, obviously that fourth inning was a little disappointing. The bottom of the order gave up the double to LeMahieu, back-to-back walks to the 8 and 9 hitter.
There's a fly ball out to Brandon Drury in left field on the warning track, and he's got it. And Archie Bradley retires the last 5 he faces here tonight. He works a 1-2-3-6. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. We'll see Jake Lamb, who last time up hit one 445 into the upper deck. It's 6-4 Diamondbacks.
Runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Diamondbacks, 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Rockies. We head to the top half of the 7th. Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Set for the 7th inning, and the new pitcher for the Rockies, the right-hander Scott Oberg. He's out of UConn. He was called up from AAA Albuquerque near the end of April. He was scored on in his first outing, but ever since then, he has not been scored on. So in 6 appearances, a 1.23 ERA. Brandon Drury, Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb due up 2, 3, and 4 in the Arizona 7th.
Yeah, Walt Weiss is working with a little bit of a short bullpen tonight. I would assume a couple of guys, including Carlos Estevez, has thrown 3 days in a row, including 21 pitches yesterday. Boone Logan has pitched back-to-back days and thrown nearly 20 pitches in each of those. Easy out at first that time.
They all are when you hit them there.
Yeah. And Jake McGee has thrown close to 40 pitches in the last 2 days, so might be a little short in the Rockies bullpen as well.
Yeah, their closer, Jake McGee's been a little dicey lately. Not the lockdown guy they thought he might be when they traded Corey Dickerson to Tampa Bay to get him. Here's Goldie. RBI sac fly in the 1st. He walked in the 4th, singled and scored in the 5th. One and 0. Goldie has done well hitting in this ballpark. He's knocked in 29 runs in 34 games here. A career .284 hitter at Coors Field. He's homered 5 times. Goldie has 4 hits on the road trip, all singles. The call down and away, 95. That looked to be a smidge low. You're biting through your tongue over there. I admire your will not to be that guy. 2-2.
Well, I've talked about it many times in the past. It's just, one pitch swings in at bat. That 1-1 pitch is such an important delivery. If it goes the way of the hitter, the count is suddenly in his favor and the pressure's all on the pitcher. If it's a strike and the count swings in favor of the pitcher, now the batter is suddenly on the defensive.
Missed inside. It's a full count, 3-2. Second 3-2 count to Goldie in the ball game. He walked back in the fourth. Jake Lamb in the cleanup spot tonight. He's on deck.
He got a hit by pitch. Goldie didn't even react.
Yeah, there was no signal from Carapazza.
I don't think Vic Carapazza knew what happened right there. He kind of looked around. He saw Goldie taking off his protective gear and just kind of put his hands up in the air and let Goldie run on down to first base.
All right, it's a ball four. It's fine. It's a walk, but he can advance to second base if it rolls behind Walters. Let's see. Just clanked it. Wow. Second walk for Goldie. Jake Lamb has hit into a double play, walked and hit a 3-run bomb. And his home run in his last at bat was career hit number 150 for Jake. 445 feet. Halfway up the second deck out there in right field.
One other thing about Coors Field, there is no time when you have to shut down your running game. I mean, it doesn't matter what the lead is or what the deficit is, a stolen base is always on the menu because of the way runs can be scored in bunches in this ballpark. Yeah, occasionally you get a 5 or 6 run lead in the game and you're expected to shut down your running game. Okay, that's enough. Don't rub it in. Not in this ballpark.
No lead is safe.
As long as you have outs left.
A 5-run fifth. That's a good example there. All 5 runs scored with 2 outs by the Diamondbacks in that inning. This was the Jake Lamb homer for career hit number 150, and watch this thing go. Our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing cool play of the game. Number 4 for Jake. 2-1. Missed away, 3 balls and a strike. Castillo's got 2 hits, a single and a double. They walked him. Back-to-back 1-out walks from Scott Oberg. Rockies pitchers tonight have issued a total of 5 bases on balls, and now here's Beef Wellington. Singled in the second, struck out in the fourth, doubled and scored in the fifth.
Actually hit his single a lot harder than he hit his double.
You're right, he did.
Single was a line drive into center field. The double was a little floater in front of Charlie Blackmon that got away from him enough for Wellington to advance to second.
He's hit safely now in 5 straight games, all on the road trip. Well, his batting average near the middle of April was down in the 190s, but he has really picked up the pace. Last 15 games, he's hit nearly 360. And you want to tack on as many runs as you can. The Rockies in the home half of this inning will have the sharp end of the stick coming at you. Story, Gonzalez, Arenado, and Parra behind him. Castillo knocks it out to center field. That ball gets down. Here comes Goldie. Lamb stops at second. Goldschmidt scores another RBI for Beef Wellington, and it's a 7-4 D-backs lead.
That's a way to keep the line moving right there. The second time that Wellington Castillo has mishit a ball but put it in a good location, this time driving home Paul Goldschmidt with the 7th D-backs run of the game. Right in on his hands.
Castillo 3 for 4. There comes Steve Foster, the pitching coach. So one of the two back-to-back walks by Oberg is scored. And now with Lamb at second and Castillo at first, it's Chris Herman, who we have very affectionately lately been referring to as Babe Herman. Now, if you want to know why, well, because back in the day, back when they were the Brooklyn Robins, Babe Herman was a left-hand hitter, was one of the most feared power hitters in the game. And he had a long 13-year career in the big leagues.
And he played right field.
Played a lot of right field. So here's Babe Herman. No relation. Last 6 at-bats for Chris Herman. 3 for 6, 2 homers and a triple.
That ain't bad.
Got to get the bat in there. That's how you get to be nicknamed Babe. An RBI triple his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Hit it deep to the gap in right center. Big cut at that one. It's 1-1. Chip Hale was saying after Herman's 2-home run game yesterday in Atlanta, look, it was Dave Stewart who insisted that when the Diamondbacks got Chris Herman from the Twins, he's got this kind of bat if he gets enough at bats to feel comfortable. And so, as Chip said, give Dave Stewart the credit for the Chris Herman trade. After a very slow 1 for 20 start, and the Babe strikes out. Chris Owings 0 for 3. There's Tony La Russa on the left, the GM Dave Stewart on the right. So first and second, 2 outs now for CO. Owings came into the ball game tonight, a career .382 hitter in this ballpark, and he shoots it down the right field line. Here comes another run. Jake Lamb scores. Castillo's in at third, and it's 8-4 D-backs.
Keep the line moving. Fastball out over the plate, and Chris shoots it right down that first baseline past the diving Mark Reynolds. Carlos Gonzalez got over there in pretty good shape, thought he was going to try to throw Wellington out at third base, but by the time he got to the ball, D-backs catcher was chugging into third. They have him on the corners now with 2 outs.
And Nick Ahmed, the hitter. Nick 0 for 3. Pitcher spot due up next. Phil Goslin has come out of the dugout. He's in the on-deck circle. And it's 0-1 on Ahmed. Castillo is the runner at third. Owings at first. Nick can find a gap here. CO with 2 outs will be flying around the bases. He shoots it toward the right center field gap. Cargo just shy of the warning track has it. And that's the end of the inning. But the Diamondbacks tack on 2 more. They lead it 8-4. obligated to do appears during the 7th inning stretch. He will soon leave very quickly. Time for the Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Your thoughts on Archie Bradley tonight?
I thought he did exactly what he had to do in this ballpark. It's not always going to be pretty. You're not always going to be on top of your game, but he got some big punch outs when he needed them the most. Didn't really have a breaking ball to speak of in this game, but got by with a fastball and a changeup. I thought it was a good outing for Archie Bradley tonight.
He went 6 full innings. He walked 3, had 4 strikeouts. And now he'll give way to the right-hander Jake Barrett. It's your Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change. The rookie right-hander, 11 appearances this year, a 3.09 ERA. And Jake worked yesterday in Atlanta.
Not that he ever works more than 1 inning, but with the pitcher spot due to lead off for the Diamondbacks in the 8th, Jake just in there to try to get 3 quick outs, and then will be pinch hit for to start the next inning.
11 2/3. He's given up 11 hits, 8 strikeouts. He's got some work to do here. Story, Cargo, Arenado 2, 3, and 4 in the Colorado 7th. Diamondbacks have out hit the Rockies 9-7. They lead at 8-4. And there's a strike at 97 from Jake Barrett. It's 0-1.
Well, and keep in mind, for Jake Barrett, all this is still new. He's a rookie. This is one to call home about. You get through this inning unscathed against the hitters he's facing in this ballpark, he's going to call Grandma and Grandpa and tell them what he did.
Absolutely. Especially this guy who's driven in 3 tonight with a pair of doubles. Jake throwing hard, 96, misses, a ball and a strike. Story an RBI double in the 1st. He struck out looking with the bases loaded against Archie Bradley in the 2nd. And then had a 2-run double in the 4th. '96. 1-2. Jake had a little bit of a rocky outing in Atlanta yesterday. Came on in the 8th inning. Gave up a 2-run double at Jeff Francoeur. And then got the final 2 outs he needed to end that Atlanta 8th. That was the inning when the Braves scored 3 and tied the ball game. Popped him up. First base side for Goldie. Big out number 1 for Jake Barrett. And as I predicted, Dinger, the front-running mascot, now that he's, fulfilled his contractual duties during the 7th inning stretch, since the Rockies are losing, he's going to run for cover. Typical Dinger. That's Dinger, the front-running mascot. Here's Cargo, 1 for 3, singled his last time up. And if you look at some of the numbers from Gonzalez, you think, wow, he's been a Diamondback killer. He's got 10 hits versus the D-backs this year, but only 1 for extra bases. And he'll take that every time.
Sometimes it's just a matter of limiting the damage. Yeah, a guy's going to get his hits. He's going to be on base quite a bit, but if you can keep him in the ballpark, keep him out of the gaps, especially with runners in scoring position, won the battle.
Diamondbacks have the shift on. Jake Lamb, the 3rd baseman, right in front of second base umpire Bill Welke out there, and Segura in the outfield grass and right. Nick Ahmed all by his lonesome. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
About that, you stand in the on-deck circle and watch this pitcher, Jake Barrett. He's flaming it up there at 96 miles an hour. So you get in the batter's box and figure you're going to cheat to get on one of those heaters. He throws you back-to-back sliders, flail at both of them.
Well, Gonzalez got off to a hot start this year. Middle of April, he'd already homered 4 times. But he's not hit a home run since. Last 19 games, all starts, he's got just 2 RBIs. And he strikes out here against Jake Barrett. That slider's working. 2 down. Better start dialing that number.
I'm not sure if that was a slider or that split finger changeup that he throws. It's really hard to tell in this ballpark because sliders don't take the same kind of break they usually do. Whatever it was, it worked.
You're throwing 96, 97, a changeup at 88 will work nicely. One more big out to get. Nolan Arenado 0 for 3. Arenado tied with Robbie Cano, don't you know, for the Major League home run lead. Last year he tied Bryce Harper for the NL home run crown. And he is not a Coors Field guy, Nolan Arenado. Since the start of last year, he's hit 26 home runs here. He's hit 28 on the road. That one is hit hard, but pulled foul. And Barrett a strike away from a 1-2-3-7.
That ball was hit so hard, it hit a seat over there in foul territory and bounced all the way over into the gap in left center.
They're going to have to go get the baseball.
Yeah, Brandon Drury had to run the ball down, throw it over to the security guard.
Even his foul balls are painful. Come in on him and it worked. Jam shot pop up. Shift is on. Segura's out there from the shortstop spot and he's got it in shallow center. And Jake Barrett gets Story, Cargo, and Arenado. It's 8-4 D-backs.
Up 8-4, top of the 8th inning. Hey fans, follow the Arizona Diamondbacks baseball live with MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
The outfield concourse here at Coors Field. It's a big ballpark, a lot to eat. Phil Gosselin will lead off the 8th inning, hitting the pitcher's spot against Scott Oberg. Phil at 244, he's got a homer. 4 for his last 26 up there. Oh, 0-2. I know you're going to say pizza, but is there anything else in this ballpark you've had that you enjoy?
Let me think.
Nope, just pizza. Gosselin hits one at Arenado. Here you go. And Phil Gosselin beat. Oh, wow! John Hirschbeck at first. Mark Reynolds, somehow it seems, may have gotten a foot on the bag.
I think you have to take a look at that one just on principle.
Chip is going to challenge. He's not even going to wait for the replay review. Oh, yeah, you don't need to wait for Alan Campbell to tell you that you should challenge that one. Headsets are coming on here.
Yeah, in his defense, that's a tough play for John Hirschbeck to see. Sure. Mark Reynolds stretched into foul territory. His body was kind of blocking Hirschbeck's view, and then the runner streaks by. Well, this is why we have the replay. Get it right. Yeah, that was a play that maybe, and how did that ball not hit Gosselin to begin with?
I was just thinking that.
Maybe, far be it from me to give defensive pointers to Nolan Arenado, but I think he had time to set his feet there and make a little bit more of an accurate throw. He has a tendency to throw off balance on occasion when he doesn't have to. And that time it turned into a two-hopper across the diamond.
And he is safe at first. Well, Arenado, if you come out during batting practice, we see this all the time, and he says the same thing. He will field balls everywhere, at the back of the dirt, back of the grass, every day, and always at the way far back, so that when the game starts, the throws feel like they're a lot closer. And he'll always throw as hard as he can. Gosselin singles. Here's Segura, who's had a good day, a double and a homer. And Gene Segura's home run back in the 5th inning was an opposite field 2-out homer. It got that big 5-run 5th started. And it goes back to another thing that Dave Stewart should get credit for. They took a lot of heat for, frankly, in the offseason, was the Segura acquisition. Story, LeMahieu, and they turn it. Well, Segura's now got 5 homers. He had 6 home runs last year. He had 5 home runs the year before that. And he didn't hit his 5th home run last year until the middle of September. And now he's already got 5 here on May the 9th.
And we don't know all the specifics surrounding his time in Milwaukee. Maybe they were trying to get him to be more of a line drive hitter, hit the ball on the ground, take more pitches. Everybody has an idea of the kind of player that a guy should develop into, but since coming over here to Arizona, they just turned him loose. Get a good pitch that you want to swing at and put a good swing on it. Keep it simple.
That seems to, Bob, have gone a long way toward making him feel comfortable here.
Well, a lot of times other clubs, and I'm not pointing a finger at the Brewers because I have no idea what went on over there, but sometimes they can make you uncomfortable. Try to make you into something that just isn't in you.
Well, a guy like that is a very aggressive free swinger. Bats in the leadoff spot. You think, well, okay, you got to take more pitches, you got to get more walks, all that stuff. But Dave Stewart, when they made the deal, was adamant. We think that he can be our leadoff man. We need a little more offense from the middle infield. So we're going to get this guy who we think a change of scenery will really help. And that's the great understatement here. It's done a lot more than just help him. He's having an all-star season. That's hit hard right at Arenado, who just casually sticks the glove out and fires a perfect bullet across the infield. Bottom 8 on the way. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 8-4. Field as we start the home half of the 8th inning. Time now for a look at our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms. The team leaders in strikeouts, Zach Greinke, who since Archie Bradley started tonight has been pushed back. He will not appear in this series. Leads the Diamondbacks with 40 strikeouts. And Chad Bettis leads the Rockies with 30. Bettis will pitch the series finale here Wednesday afternoon against Robbie Ray.
Yeah, before the change in the rotation, those two guys would have hooked up in the final game of this series, but not now. Tyler Clippard taking over for the Diamondbacks, his 15th appearance of the season. Perfect 2-0 record, ERA just a smidge over 2.5.
Tyler worked the 7th inning in each of the first 2 games in the Braves series, totaling 3 strikeouts, so he last pitched Saturday at Turner Field. And Gerardo Parra leads it off. Parra, Reynolds, LeMahieu 5, 6, and 7 in the Rockies' 8th. It's 8-4 in the 8th inning. Don't see Dinger. Nowhere to be found. Just saying. Parra doubled his last time up, 1 for 3. If it was 8-4 Rockies, you'd probably see him back there, you know, waving for the cameras. But
signing autographs,
oh, yeah,
posing for pictures.
That's Dinger, the front-running mascot. I'm told Dinger is not, frankly, all that popular here in Rocky Nation.
Really?
Some people on the inside. They don't love him. Of course, for the mascot race here, they have a toothbrush racing a tube of toothpaste, so I guess it's all relative. This is out to Brandon Drury, and that's going to split Drury and Owings in left center field, and Parra's at it again. Another double, his 2nd tonight, his 12th this year.
Boy, it's something to take note of for the next couple games of this series. Parra's first double was right down the third base line. This one comes to the gap in left center. You have to think about sliding around and playing him a little bit to the opposite field, especially out there in the outfield.
So the leadoff man aboard for Mark Reynolds, who's 0 for 3. Diamondbacks will put the shift on the infield. 3 defenders on the left-hand side. Segura, the second baseman, on the shortstop side of the back, just behind the runner Parra.
You know, what we just saw from Gerardo Parra is why we have advanced scouts. I mean, some people would say, well, we've got all these stats, we've got all this information on the internet, we don't need advanced scouts. We can look at the paper and see what a guy's doing.
And some teams are doing that.
Well, a perfect example. We used to come in here and play the Colorado Rockies when they had Larry Walker as a right fielder. Now, when Larry Walker was swinging the bat well, he was hitting it from foul line to foul line, gap to gap with power, running the bases. When he would get into a little bit of a funk, everything was pulled. Ground balls to the right side, fly balls to right field. And your advanced scout would make notes of that. And by knowing the history of a player, what he usually does, and what is he doing right now, it prepared you so much better to go into a series. And, you know, Gerardo Parra, a guy that when he's going at his best, he's doing what he's done tonight. Hit the ball to the opposite field. Might change the way you pitch a guy. I talked about Mark Reynolds earlier, a guy that generally tries to lift the ball in the air to left field. That's what he lives for. And strike out if he doesn't. But lately, he's been driving the ball up the middle of the field, trying to flatten his swing a little bit. And those are the kind of things that advanced scouts look for. Just the little things that maybe wouldn't show up on a statistical sheet somewhere that everybody has.
And those are the guys right behind home plate. They're always back in the same spot, the advanced scouts. 1-2 on Reynolds. Now, sounds like a dumb question, but why stop now? Why do they call them advanced scouts?
Well, because they're always a couple of series ahead of your team. Some of the scouts that are here are from the Giants and from the Yankees, I'm sure, because those are the teams we're going to play when we go back on the next homestand.
Parra takes off for third. Here's the throw from Castillo. In time, they got him. Wellington Castillo throws out Gerardo Parra trying to steal third. He's thrown out another attempted base stealer.
Well, some things never change. Gerardo Parra, he can make some base running mistakes with the best of them.
Fourth time this year he's been thrown out attempting to steal. Now you're down 4 runs in the 8th inning and just got yourself thrown out at third.
For the first out of the inning.
Not good.
Not good at all. But not surprising.
We love Parra, love him. But that's not going to get you a gold star from the manager. Why be aggressive in that spot, down 4 runs in the 8th? And this is lifted out to Drury, and it drops in front. A little conservative that time.
That was Mark Trumbo-like, his pursuit of that fly ball. Well, after Parra's ball shot by him as quickly as it did, it's understandable the guys are a little gun shy out there.
Dave McKay has all these guys playing, and Bob, you've mentioned this a million times, back further than they normally would, right?
Yep, it's always more comfortable for a guy who's playing out of position to come in on the ball than it is to go back.
And I guess out there in this massive outfield, you're always going to be a little paranoid anyway if it's a new position. Brandon had never played any outfield until A.J. Pollock got hurt. Now Clippard is hit for a balk, and Reynolds will move to second. So this inning is getting even a little more strange. Let's take a look.
I think it might have even happened before that replay right there. I didn't see anything on that particular stretch setup position that indicated a balk.
DJ LeMahieu. Doubled and scored in the 4th, 1 for 3.
Think Reynolds will try to steal third?
I hope so. And this is exactly why that was a really bad decision by Gerardo Parra. And there's another case of DJ LeMahieu, Bob, going the other way. Now, you never know what would have happened, certainly. But had Parra not been thrown out, the Rockies right now, with 1 out, would have the tying run at the plate.
Catcher number 14, Tony.
It's not like it was a 3-2 game. It looked like on that play, Mark Reynolds was thinking about coming home. Let's check out Reynolds coming into third here. Stu Cole is the third base coach. Let's see. It drops in. He was
Kinds of confusion there. Not sure exactly what happened. Looked at the coach and looked back over his shoulder. That's never a good thing.
So here we go. Still only 1 out. Reynolds is at third. LeMahieu, the runner at first. And Tony Walters, the catcher. They walked and scored in the 4th. Hitting 157 on the year, a swing and a miss at 0-1. Now the concern here is the on-deck man, Ryan Rayburn. The right-hander with really good power. He's homered against the Diamondbacks earlier this year. He's on deck. He would hit in the pitcher spot. Oh, and 2. in the seats. Diamondbacks trailed this game 4-1. And they got 5 runs in the 5th, all with 2 outs. Tacked on 2 more in the 7th, trying to hold an 8-4 lead. Ten hits apiece. Mayhew runs pretty well down there at first. He's got 5 stolen bases this year. He got him. Walters strikes out. First strikeout for Tyler.
Your attention.
Chases that changeup in the dirt. I thought initially he might have got a piece of that and foul tipped it, but clearly missed it completely.
Rayburn will hit for the pitcher. This will bring Mike Butcher out to have a conversation, because Rayburn is having a terrific year for the Rockies. That's why they went out and got him. They wanted some right-hand power. He's hitting .341. He's homered 4 times, and 2 of those home runs this year have come at Chase Field against the Diamondbacks. His first season in Colorado after 7 years with the Tigers, the last 3 with the Cleveland Indians.
Eleventh pinch hit at bat of the season already for Rayburn. He's 3 for his previous 10.
2 on and 2 out, bottom of the 8th. Diamondbacks trying to hang on and win their 4th in a row.
Man, watch that first pitch. Anybody coming off the bench as a pinch hitter, the general consensus is swing at the first thing you see close to the strike zone. So be careful with that first pitch.
Might this be a good time to try a first pitch changeup?
Yeah, this could be a possible time. Fastball down low at 90. But now he's given Rayburn a speed to gauge. That's just about his best fastball. He occasionally get up into the low 90s, but at least Rayburn now has a fastball speed on Tyler Clippard. Now that changeup really becomes effective.
The bullet on the bench is how Walt Weiss refers to Ryan Rayburn. He's using it right here. Hard and foul. That one almost killed Reynolds. He just saw his life flash before his eyes. Wow, that was dangerous. Look out.
And we always point it out for the youngsters out there. That's why you lead off in foul territory from third base, just in the event you get struck by a batted ball. If you're standing in foul territory, it's just a foul ball. If you're in fair territory, you are out.
A ball and a strike on Ryan Rayburn. And that one elevated. Rayburn swung through it. It's 1-2. Blackman, the leadoff man, would be next. And right now he represents the tying run. 2-2 is fouled back.
Might have gotten away with one there. An 81-mile-an-hour changeup up above the belt, out over the plate. Fortunately, Rayburn underneath it just fouled it straight back.
Two balls, two strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Fly ball, Chris Herman, right field, right in front of the warning track. And Tyler Clippard strands 2. We go to the 9th in Denver. It's 8-4 Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks ahead where it matters. 8-4, top of the 9th inning. Hey fans, the D-backs welcome the Yankees back to Chase Field for a 3-game series May 16th, 17th, and 18th. Secure seats now at dbacks.com.
9th inning here at Coors Field. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you. The new pitcher for the Rockies to work the 9th, the right-hander Justin Miller, who earned the win on opening day at Chase Field. He's had a little bit of a bumpy road ever since his 14th appearance, a 5.40 ERA. They'll work to Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, and Wellington Castillo, 3, 4, and 5. Goldie has an RBI sac fly. He has singled. He's walked twice. He scored twice. Been very aggressive early in the count tonight. Let's see if he takes a cut here at one of the first few from Miller. Does it, fouls it off, 0-1. Well, the great Dan Hyatt, BB, has pointed out something. Just another game at Coors Field for the old Diamondbacks. Since the start of last year to tonight, that's 10 games. Arizona averaging here 6.2 runs per game. And they are hitting .316 as a team at Coors Field since the start of last season. That's 10 games here, 14 homers and 23 doubles.
Well, the problem for Walt Weiss and the Rockies is I think just about every team that comes into town has similar numbers.
Yep. Goldie reaches down and lifts that deep to right center field, and it's off the new chain link fence out there, and Goldie's got an extra base hit. That's his 3rd double and his first extra base hit on this road trip. That's a home run last year.
Yep. Tell you, we'll take good solid contact and a drive out there to the opposite field. Goldie looks much different tonight than we've seen in the first 6 games of this road trip.
He's been on base 4 times. Here's Jake Lamb, who's been aboard 3 times. 2 walks, a long 3-run homer. He has scored twice.
The one time they retired Goldie was on the sac fly RBI back in the first inning.
No lead is safe.
Keep adding on whenever you can.
Now 11 hits for the Diamondbacks. 10 for the Rockies, who overload the right-hand side of the infield against Jake Lamb. Trevor Story, the shortstop, sneaking in behind the bag at second. And Jake fouls that one off. It's 1-1. This is headed toward the right field corner. Will it get out of here? And it's off the wall. He just missed another one. They'll wave Goldie home. Now it's still rolling. Matt Williams going to stop Lamb at third. It's an RBI triple. It caromed off that wall and rolled all the way back down the right field line toward first base. So that's the 3rd consecutive 2-hit game for Jake. He's got a homer and a triple.
Just missed another homer right here. This is what we were talking about earlier, all the different surfaces out there, especially in right field. It hits.
Oh, he just missed it.
Up there very hard at the top of that fence, and Cargo was running back toward his own dugout chasing that ball.
That thing rolled about 100 feet back toward the bag. And now with Lamb at third and a run in, the infield will come in for Wellington Castillo, who is 3 for 4, 2 singles and a double. He's got an RBI. He scored a run. Boy, you never know what kind of bounce you're going to get off this new right field wall. It could be anything.
And there's an area right down the right field line where it's angled slightly, and if it hits that particular area, it'll carry him toward the gap in right center.
I thought the way that Segura's homer carried, that one might go too, but it just missed. Boy, Jake Lamb's got it going again. He's sitting over 300 on the road trip. And tonight is his 4th 2-hit game on this trip.
Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it'll be interesting to see the lineup tomorrow against left-hander Chris Russell.
Well, they say they want to see Jake have better at-bats against lefties. Now's a good time. Blackman from center. And here comes Jake. The throw is offline. 10-4 Diamondbacks. Another RBI for Wellington Castillo. Well, Tomas might play tomorrow, we're told. You wouldn't figure that Peralta would if that wrist is still sore and a lefty's in there. So that opens up a spot for Drury. So theoretically, you keep Jake at third. And it might shake out that way. Here's Chris Herman, who had an RBI triple in the 5th. And he's 1 for 4. The Babe Herman shift is on again for the Rockies.
Full shift in the infield, but opposite way in the outfield. It's a little surprising given we've seen Chris Herman hit the ball hard to the outfield and right center, straight away right field.
Yeah, you think Blackman would be more over toward right center.
Cargo straying even farther away from that first baseline. He's almost all the way over in the gap.
Two and one on Chris Herman. Chris got the start tonight in right field. No Peralta, no Tomas. Two and two. Chris Owings on deck. CO had an RBI single his last time up. Full count, 3-2. Another 2-strike. Every time he gets 2 strikes, we wait for the home run. Pair of 2-strike homers yesterday in the win over the Braves. Called strike 3. Herman strikes out for the second time. 2 down. You'll see all those people milling around behind home plate there. That's usually where Dinger would be if the Rockies were winning. But since they're not, and he is Dinger, the front-running mascot, he's nowhere to be found. There's people waiting, hoping to see Dinger, as we all are, but can't find the guy anywhere.
Dinger's probably in the Dinger mobile halfway home by now.
Oh, yeah. There's a little tapper to Reynolds at first. Gets the quick foot in there, but the Diamondbacks tack on 2 more. They lead at 10-4. Bottom 9 on the way. D-backs driving the bus, and it's rolling right over the Rockies here at Coors Field. The opener of this 3-game series. Our Gila River game summary. Archie Bradley in line for the win. 6 gutsy innings, 4 runs, 7 hits. He did walk 3, but got some big strikeouts when he needed them. And Jake Lamb has had a big day at the plate. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, it's Randall Delgado, already with 16 appearances and 19 innings worked this year. He got his first win of the season yesterday in Atlanta when he came on in the 9th. And with 2 outs and the bases loaded in a tie game, he got a big out, Jeff Rancourt. Randall worked 1 1/3 in that ball game and got the win when Chris Herman homered. Charlie Blackmon, top of the order, due up in the Rockies' 9th. And even when the Rockies are batting here, you think Dinger would come out, give you a couple of Queen Elizabeth waves.
Rally the crowd.
No, but since they're losing, Dinger, the front-running mascot, can't find him. Typical. That's blasted right at Herman, and he's right there. You're right, he's halfway down the highway by now, Dinger.
His way back to Jurassic Park or wherever he lives.
Probably pulled off at a convenience store for some beef jerky or something for the rest of the ride home. Trevor Story, a pair of RBI doubles. He's knocked in 3 tonight. Yeah, there's Dinger leaving. Look, he's leaving.
Let's see you, Dinger.
In the Dinger mobile. Well, I don't know how he drives with that big head on. He's out, man. Dinger out. Drop the mic. Oh, and 2. Diamondback Live post-game show follows our ball game. D-backs on their way to their 4th straight win. And they will be back within 2 games of 500. Only 2 back of the Dodgers and the Giants for the division lead coming into play today. Game 2 of this 3-game set tomorrow night. Ruby De La Rosa on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Chris Russin, the lefty, for the Rockies. And then we're back Wednesday afternoon. That's Robbie Ray and Chad Bettis.
I was just going to say, it's never too early to scoreboard watch. Mets lead the Dodgers 3-2 in the 6th. The Giants trail the Blue Jays 3-0 in the 5th.
Rings up Story. 2 up, 2 down for Delgado. Carlos Gonzalez, last man standing. He rolls it over the bag. A fair ball away from the shift. Cargo will stroll into second. And that's his 7th double. That's a smart play. Down 6, 2 outs. Just looking for base runners.
Right over the bag at third. Just kind of pounds it down into the dirt out in front of home plate there. Down that third baseline. See third base umpire DJ Rayburn indicating fair.
He's got some heavy hitters coming up behind him. And here's the heaviest, Nolan Arenado, who tonight is 0 for 4. No player in baseball since the start of last season has more RBIs than Nolan Arenado. They overload the left-hand side of the infield. Oh, and 2. Reaction from the clubhouse is next. Diamondback Live post-game show with Jody Jackson. He did not go, says John Hirschbeck. Well, Bob, I go back to the first inning here. Valley Honda dealer, key to the game. Keep Dinger in his cage. And they certainly did that. Diamondbacks with 10 runs on 12 hits and no dinger.
The only dingers were off the bats of Diamondbacks hitters tonight. We like that.
I see what you did there.
Okay, one guess as to the music that will be playing on the jukebox when Jody gets down to the clubhouse.
Bob Marley, right?
Yeah, Three Little Birds.
Everything gonna be all right, David Peralta.
We heard it on the plane coming from Atlanta yesterday.
Started playing that in Miami after the sweep, and they have not lost since. So that is our new theme music. 2-2 to Nolan Arenado. And he was right, David and Bob. You get the win here, you're 16-18, back within 2 of 500. You're a game out of first if some of these scores hold up. Giants losing at home to the Blue Jays 3-0. Dodgers losing at home to the Mets 4-2. Full count on Arenado, 3-2. Gerardo Parra on deck. Boy, Randall has really worked a lot out of that bullpen. The whole bullpen has been taxed, certainly. Randall's had a heavy workload back there. Two outs, 3-2 to Arenado. Over the mound, Randall stuck his glove out there, and they'll have no play. The shift was on. Had Randall not touched that, it would have gone right to Gene Segura behind the second base bag. Instead, the inning continues.
That's too bad. Just instinct on the part of Randall Delgado. But yeah, you could see Gene Segura was squaring up behind that when that was going to be the final out of the ball game right there.
Parra, who has doubled twice tonight, will get a chance here against Delgado. Gerardo 2 for 4, doubled in the 5th, doubled in the 8th. Now 12 hits apiece. Parra has been a pain in the neck against his former ball club, the Diamondbacks. Already this season, he's got 10 hits against the D-backs. 7 of them are doubles. And he finds those gaps. Two and one. Drops it into left center. Gonzalez scores. Arenado to third. 10-5. Third straight hit for the Rockies.
Another hit coming to the opposite field. All 3 of his hits in the ball game today have come to left center or around to the left field line. That one chasing home Carlos Gonzalez.
Mike Butcher. Daniel Hudson will have to get up now. Delgado with 20 pitches.
First pitch.
12 of them strikes. He's given up 3 straight hits, all with 2 outs. And Mark Reynolds will be the hitter. Reynolds singled his last time up, 1 for 4. Not too many ballparks you can get out hit 13-12 and win it 10-5.
If we could just get Gerardo Parra to attempt to steal second base and get thrown out.
You never know. Goldie's off the bag. The old fake defensive indifference play. Maybe draw one of those up on your board. 1-1.
Yeah, play the first baseman behind the runner and then pitch out.
That's right. He fell for it. Even this Rocky comeback, if you want to call it that. 3 straight hits in the 9th. They got 2 on. They got a home run guy up there. And even that, not enough to bring Dinger out of his hole. What a fraud. 1-2. That's Dinger, the front running mascot. Oh, come on, Vic. Well, we might get that one.
Yeah, don't get tight now.
Oh, that's off the plate.
Definitely off the plate.
Count. You know Chip Hale doesn't want to have to bring Daniel Hudson into this ball game.
He didn't even want to have to get him up in the bullpen.
I'm sure. You got Blackman the line out to right. He struck out Story. Gonzalez doubled. Arenado singled. Parra singled. And now he's gone full on Reynolds with LeMahieu on deck. Can't bring the tying run to the plate in this ballpark. Shut this down right here before it comes to that. Struck him out. And the Diamondbacks close out the Rockies. It's a 10-5 win. They win the opener of this 3-game series, and they've now won 4 in a row.
Got it rolling a little bit. Always good to win the first game of the series here in Colorado and just get a feel for what it's going to be like the next couple days in this ballpark.
Well, this one feels like a D-backs win. They are out hit 13-12, but win it 10-5. Jake Lamb had a big night, a 3-run homer, an RBI triple. Babe Herman, an RBI triple. Segura homered. A big night for the Diamondbacks, and Archie Bradley made some big pitches to get the win. Diamondback Live, presented by CenturyLink, is next year on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs beat the Rockies 10-5. Much more from Coors Field coming up next.